Yeah, a cute metaphor you got there, but this is a real man's world. Let the king show you how it's done. Tekken 7 is a fascinating product. Given extensive testing in Japanese arcades before being given a home release, the fighter stood as an antithesis to its Street Fighter V contemporary. While Street Fighter V rushed out the door to get its contents to players as quickly as possible, riding the hype of character reveal trailers every month with an established focus on the fighting game community, Tekken 7 hit under the cusp of consciousness, with players aware that it was coming and in some way available, but with Namco taking its time with the product. And while not the explosion of quality and hype that Tekken 3 was, Tekken 7's methodical approach and thoughtfulness toward its gameplay absolutely shines through. This is very much evident in the story mode's final boss fight, and the determination it not only instills in its characters, but in its player to persevere through its challenge. Tekken 7's story mode is centered around the Mishima family, to the exclusion of almost all other characters. The main focus, however, is on the patriarch of the family, Heihachi Mishima. Voiced by Unsho Ishizuka at his most hammy, Heihachi is the most recurring character of the story mode, taking the lion's share of both cutscenes and fights for himself. If anything is built up through the story, it's that Heihachi is one of the coolest, strongest characters around. This is a man who catches bullets with his teeth, kicks missiles away with his bare feet, and shatters an axe with a single bite. And, in a world full of demons and monsters and dinosaurs with boxing gloves, he's just a regular guy who stands above all of them through sheer force of will. This burning willpower is conveyed to the player through Heihachi's gameplay. Tekken 7's story mode simplifies things by giving characters easy access to special moves. This makes needing to memorize complex button combinations unnecessary, and even lets inexperienced players pull off cool things with Heihachi. All of Heihachi's moves are designed to put the opponent in a significant amount of stun, or knock them away, giving him breathing room or an easy in as needed. These are the player's tools to overcome armies of robots, a phoenix demon lady with a magic tiger, and special guest star Akuma from Street Fighter! However, there is one opportunity for the player to fight Heihachi, as opposed to control him. Here he uses moves separate from his easy specials, including moves original to Tekken 7. By watching these new strategies employed against them, the player organically figures out Heihachi's weaknesses from the other side, as well as the desire to dig deep into his moves and figure out which one is the cool earthquake punch that he keeps spamming! This builds up the player's confidence before the final boss fight against Heihachi's son, Kazuya Mishima. Fueled by the power of the Devil Gene, Kazuya is presented as a mighty enough foe, but one that the player can make fairly short work of. They've been playing as the main man Heihachi for quite some time after all, and they're likely to be very comfortable with him by now. Kazuya blasts Heihachi with a laser beam that took down a satellite, and Heihachi powers through it, giving the player a health disadvantage in the next round. Though Kazuya gains some new tricks, including an unblockable laser beam, this is another round that Heihachi's powerful strikes can dominate. Even when Kazuya brings out the full power of the Devil Gene for the third round, Heihachi's rushdown proves to be powerful, and a slight amount of regeneration on Kazuya's part can't stop his dad's overwhelming offensive. Then, Kazuya stops playing around and hits Heihachi with 6 lasers at the same time, and things get real. Heihachi gets up, but is horribly weakened for the final round. His health bar shows he's only at about 1/5 of his total health, while Devil Kazuya is all healed up and ready to fight. It's a sight that, at first, seems absolutely hopeless to the player. But as Devil Kazuya strikes, it's hard to see if Heihachi is even taking damage at all. Only after a few more attacks landed does the player realize that Heihachi is only taking chip damage from his son, even without blocking. essentially mitigating his son's damage and making it deal the least amount possible. Through the power of believing in himself, Heihachi is refusing to die, making what was once seen as an unbeatable challenge into something the player can grasp. However, Devil Kazuya will not make this an easy fight. At 2 separate times in the fight, Kazuya will heal up slightly and utilize super armor. This property means that Kazuya will not flinch from Heihachi's attacks, but the reverse isn't true. Heihachi can still be knocked around by Kazuya just fine. And while Kazuya's first super armor phase wears off after he uses a super attack, his second lasts until the end of the fight. The strong, stunning techniques that Heihachi could rely on are useless, leaving the player powerless. It's more than likely that they will fall again and again at the feet of the devil. Yet, like Heihachi himself, clinging on with just a sliver of hope after being beaten down, the player must power through, learn the devil's attacks and patterns, and fight with all their heart to claim victory. Heihachi doesn't rely on any special powers to overcome his foes, and neither does the player. A defensive style must be taken up, learning all of Kazuya's techniques until he can finally be taken down. The player must step into Heihachi's gi and literally beat the devil out of his boy with nothing but luck and pluck. And it makes overcoming the demon one of the most satisfying accomplishments in a fighting game. There are other tiles that exemplify the player overcoming significant odds. The Souls series presents the player with brutal challenges to try again and again. Metal Gear Solid 4 tries to emulate Snake's pain in a heart-wrenching sequence through the player's button mashing. And Undertale features a thematic determination woven into its narrative to make the player's constant fighting against an overwhelming foe feel special. But Heihachi Mishima's Last Stand marries the thematic, character, and gameplay aspects into one final challenge. The player's victory is Heihachi's, and vice versa, strengthening the narrative and the player's achievement hand in hand. Kazuya using his own grit to overcome Heihachi in a cutscene following is like a punch to the player's heart after all they'd overcome. And wanting to kick Kazuya's ass more than anything for that is as strong a sequel hook as any. Yet the contentment and victory felt through overcoming the odds is something that cannot be forgotten and will remain Heihachi's greatest victory of all time. And that is how you design for determination.